You may have already noticed that there are no rams in the Peppa Pig universe. No one knows where Suzie's father or grandfather are. But are you ready to discover the truth behind the curse of the sheep family? Bad news. We have some bad news. The rams in Peppa's world are no longer alive. You don't see any of them in the series because they die early, and there is a theory on the internet that explains why this happens. This theory says that female sheep are bigger and stronger than rams, and because of that, when they have offspring, the male may end up losing his life, either because of an accident or because the sheep kills her husband to use his wool as a blanket so the babies can grow up safe and warm. But that's a very strange thing, isn't it? There are species that actually do this, such as the black widow spider, for example. Maybe you think this doesn't make sense with sheep, but then the question remains, so why do we never see rams if children like Suzie keep being born? The idea that males die early is an answer that makes sense, don't you think? If not, we're going to show you much more about the sheep family curse right now. Are you ready? Because another amazing Cinewave is starting now. Curse. Do you remember the Halloween episode when Suzie appeared in front of Madame Gazelle? In that story, the teacher has no reflection in the mirror, and everyone knows what that means. That gazelle is a vampire. But do you understand why the teacher wasn't careful at all about revealing herself as a monster to Suzie? It's simple. The little sheep knows very well that the world of magic exists. Suzie herself already told Peppa that she had an imaginary friend. But what does that have to do with the rams? It's very simple to answer. The rams in Suzie's world were cursed by some witch. Wow, this theory is really crazy, isn't it? Madame Gazelle doesn't need to be afraid to hide in front of Suzie because the sheep knows very well that witches and monsters are real. In what other way could we explain why rams don't exist in the series? And let's remember that Peppa Pig is a story from the same creators of Ben and Holly, a universe where fairies are real. And on top of that, a recent episode showed Suzie as a fairy while she was playing with Peppa, who was playing the role of a witch, and the two of them fought over a wand. It's as if the show were showing that Suzie has issues with witches, but the show still hasn't said why a witch would curse the rams. Is this theory correct? Let's hope everything turns out fine in the end. Trip. But if you don't believe in spells and curses, maybe there is a slightly more realistic explanation for the disappearance of the rams, and this has everything to do with Mr. Wolf and others of his species. You know that Mr. Wolf is a character who is eager to devour Daddy Pig ever since he moved to Peppa's town. And you must also know the expression wolf in sheep's clothing, which talks about an evil person pretending to be good. That's exactly what Mr. Wolf is doing. He's pretending to be a nice guy because his dream is to do to the pigs what his species has already done to the rams. They devoured all of Suzie's relatives. The idea of a wolf in sheep's clothing has everything to do with this because, unfortunately, Suzie's father, grandfather, and all the other rams in her family were devoured. If this is true, then it can explain why they never appeared in the series, even though baby sheep exist in this universe. But what do you think about that? Can we trust this theory? Do you believe that Mr. Wolf knows the truth behind the mystery of the sheep? Comment the hashtag Suzie so we can get to know you. Abandonment. Another answer for the lack of rams in the series may have everything to do with the idea that they abandoned their wives and children because in reality, Suzie's father and grandfather are evil and don't want to help raise the babies. This is a very sad thing to talk about, but if you think about it, you'll see how it can make sense. Look at who Suzie's relatives are. Peppa's best friend should have a father, but where is he? She also has a grandmother, which indicates that the little sheep should have a grandfather too, but where is he? Suzie also has her cousin Charlotte, a 17-year-old teenage sheep, and that means Suzie has at least one sheep aunt and a ram uncle, but none of them have ever appeared in the series. Do you see how strange this is? None of them seem to have had a father present in their lives. Maybe this could be a family issue, right? Which has everything to do with today's topic, but when we look at Peppa's world, everything gets worse. The little pig has already traveled to several countries: America, France, Italy, and Australia. Did you see any rams in any of those places? No. Why aren't they anywhere? But we'll talk about the places Peppa traveled to in a moment, so stay tuned. Clone. One of the strongest theories about the ram family talks about Suzie being a clone of her mother, who is actually a clone of her grandmother, and so on. In this case, there would be no male sheep, and all of them were born in a scientist's laboratory. And who would he be? Of course, we're talking about Grandpa Rabbit, who is a mad genius. Grandpa Rabbit probably cloned his own daughter with the army of Mrs. Rabbit spread around the world. But what would stop him from doing the same thing with Suzie's family? Do you see how this makes perfect sense? The reason for him to do this is very simple to explain. He needs the wool to sell clothes in his daughter's shops. Mrs. Rabbit herself already tried to sell George a wool coat. If you have a clothing store, having an army of sheep clones must be good for business, right? Could this be the truth? Was Suzie born in a laboratory? Fight. Now we're going going to show one of the theories that might be the most accurate. In the real world, rams compete for the attention of female sheep, meaning they fight among themselves. These fights can be very violent, and that's why we don't see rams in the episodes of the series. And if this is really true, then another theory about this universe is also correct. This theory says that the characters in Peppa's world have behaviors that make sense for their species, such as Peppa liking muddy puddles, for example. In Suzie's case and with the sheep, the problem lies in the competition among rams for the girl's attention, and that's why it's very dangerous for them to live too close to one another. But there is another detail that we're going to show you now.
Subscribing to the channel is just as good as watching your favorite animations.
Shall we click? Many siblings. Did you know that in the real world, Suzie's species gathers in large groups of females and very few males? That means Peppa's best friend must have thousands of sisters and brothers spread all over the world. Do you doubt that? According to our sources, sheep are divided into 25 females for every ram. That must be why we never saw Suzie's father. He must have traveled to take care of some other baby who needed his attention. This theory makes perfect sense, doesn't it? Let's find out the truth in the next season, because you've probably already noticed that the Little Pig series is always bringing something new. In season 7, Aunt Dottie made her debut, and in season 8, Evie arrived. The next season should answer a bit more of the mysteries surrounding Suzie's family. But what do you think about that? Farm.
There is also another possibility that talks about a huge farm, the place where the rams are being kept by human beings.
And if you think that's not true, just watch the episode where Peppa goes to New York. When she is in Times Square, we see an image of a girl who is a farmer next to some sheep. It's almost certain that this is a clue that there is a place controlled by humans, a massive farm where people built a city just for themselves since they lost the rest of the world. That's why we also don't see many people besides the Redbeard pirate and the queen. The rams must be living in this place. If this is true, then the series has a really cool reason to create a special episode that answers our questions about the mysteries of the show. One of them being, where are the other humans and rams? Will we ever discover the truth? Italy. Maybe there is a much easier reality to understand. Rams don't exist, but that doesn't mean Suzie doesn't have a father. You don't know what that means? It's very simple. Our information indicates that sheep can have offspring with an animal that is very similar, goats. And in this case, there is indeed proof about Suzie's father. When Peppa and her family travel to Italy, we discover that there are goats living there. That's why it's important for you to understand that the creators of the series have already shown us the truth about Suzie's father. She is the daughter of a goat and not a ram. In addition, if the Mr. Goat who appeared in the Italy episode was Mrs. Sheep's ex-husband, then Suzie has at least one sister, Gabriella Goat. This could be the truth that fans of the Peppa universe have been looking for more than 20 years, ever since the series premiered on television, and it actually makes sense. A show as famous as Peppa can answer some mysteries without revealing everything at once. We see this in other famous cartoons. And if Suzie really is Gabriella's sister, then it makes sense that Peppa liked her from the very beginning, don't you think? Let's hope the next season answers this question. Nurse. But there are some fans who don't believe any of this. You may have noticed that Suzie has two big dreams. One of them is to be a nurse when she grows up, and the second is to fly an airplane. Fans believe that in reality, the rams, including Suzie's father, are in very bad shape because of a terrible disease. And Suzie dreams of being a nurse so she can take care of her father and the possible brothers and cousins she has. And the fact that the little sheep really wants to fly an airplane may be because she dreams of traveling to the place where the rams live. And what place would that be? The same farm that exists in the sheep herder theory we talked about earlier in the video. That really does make perfect sense because it combines not just one theory from this universe, but many others. What do you think about that? Whatever the truth may be, it's very possible that the future of the series will show what's really going on in Suzie's family because, as we've already said, Peppa Pig is bringing new things in the latest episodes, but until then, you can stay here with us.
If you like this video, there are 2 more ready on the screen. Just click and keep watching with us. Thanks, and see you soon.